Hello, and welcome to Saturday's stream of Making Some Monsters. I'm continuing on with this big vulture dinosaur-like beastie creature that I started sculpting on yesterday. If you can see this is now rigid and hard. What I built around the aluminum foil and cardboard base. It feels good and secure. I think I'm happy with how it's hardening up. So we got to add some more magic sculpt to this. Add some here where you can still see foil, build out the beak and some teeth. Then got to kind of anchor it into the back to where the wood plaque is that I kind of built it around. Just kind of jam a bunch of magic sculpt in there to really secure it up. Then we got to start adding all sorts of weird textures and details and style to it and make this into a cool beastie and add some weird cyborg parts as well. So if anybody's watching along, I hope you enjoy, and if you have questions along the way, make sure to hit me up. Again, I forgot to fill up my water bottle, my spray bottle, before doing this, so I'm going to fill it with some of my drinking water before I get too deep into it. Can't say I'm okay. All right, that should be plenty for this adventure that we're going on. It's a lovely day outside, but there is sculpting to be had. Figure I'll do this for a bit and then maybe go and do something else afterwards. Okay, first we're going to start with the hardener. If you're not familiar with Magic Sculpt, it is a two-part sculpting epoxy, like a resin epoxy. It doesn't smell great. It's not good to breathe it in. This is about all I have left in my bucket. I'm going to pinch off a fairly large chunk, and then we're going to have to try and pinch off similar size of what remains of the resin. It's a big handful ball of that. Drop what remains into the bucket. Relid that bucket. A little rubber band thing that kind of keeps a good secure seal is popping out of that. Make sure that's in there nice and firmly so that keeps the container airtight. Keeps it from drying out and makes it more pliable and easier to work with for much longer. Then I've got the black resin. Going to try and take a similar amount of that. Yeah, there's the toxic fumes breathing that stuff in as I pop that open. Not delicious, not delicious at all. Bum, 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 bum. So trying to get pretty close in size to what I had. So that way I'm just kind of working down the buckets at the same pace. You can have more or less hardening agent, and it will just slow or speed up the curing process. I'm not in a rush. Don't need it to be any faster. Don't really need to slow it down either. So just going to keep plugging along and going with it. Since I like what's going on with the textures that have already been built in here, I'm kind of looking at shapes and how this cheek is a little bit lower than this cheek, so we'll build this out a little bit. We'll add more texture here. We'll start to build up around this ridge up here and start adding more details to the texture. Try and make the beak look evil and menacing. Let's see how far we can get with this guy today. I do have some interesting things already lined up where I've got this this eye that's probably going to go on the other side, this cyborg-like eye with tubing, putting it in, making it so it's nice and lit up. And just going to start doing this. So it's only 3 o'clock in the afternoon my time. Already today I've done a 16-ish mile bike ride, done grocery shopping, posted Kickstarter update, sent out some PDFs, did some other planning, tried to take a little nap because that bike ride kicked my ass, but about 20 minutes into laying down, my dog, she just jumped out of bed and just started barking like crazy. So it was time to get up and start finding weird bits and pieces to work into the cyborg part of this creature. Gonna step back so I'm not kicking the tripod as I'm mixing this up. These two pieces, the gray and the black, you want to mix them together until they are one. And just keep kind of making coils and blending it together until it's all one. It's going to take a little while because I got a big chunk of it this time. Sometimes it's easier to break it in half and work in stages, pieces. But now with this thing, once we start adding other bits, we'll start adding like ridges and necklines and start really building this guy out to make him look fun and creepy. Maybe make some eyeballs. We'll see. Aside from the cyborg eye, of course. Perhaps make a glass eye for the other side, for the meaty, fleshy bits. Just going to blend this one together. Then we'll merge the two. Having these smaller fistful sizes definitely makes it a lot faster and easier to work through. Oh, have I decided on a color palette? Hey, Jared, sorry, I just saw that. For the creature. And thank you about it coming along great. No, usually I don't. I mean, I did do a rendition of this on my iPad in Procreate, and it was kind of purplish, but I don't know. Usually I kind of wait until I'm actually painting it to see where it takes me. I tend to gravitate a lot towards a very similar color palette for a lot of my things, but part of it may also depend on what paints I still have because I'm running low on some. Lots of variables can dictate exactly what color choices I make because of that. But he was definitely more purplish, if I recall, from that coloring. I think I was just sitting on the couch one night and I had taken the original drawing concept and taken it into Procreate so I could see what it might look like in color. Any thoughts on your end as to what you would envision it being? So I'm still seeing little bits of gray, not a whole lot, but enough that I want to work this together just a little bit more before I start adding this magic sculpt to it. Okay, I think that's good enough. Now, on the areas where I've got just some tinfoil showing through, this doesn't have to be super thick, right? I just need to get a thin layer. We're just kind of giving it this hard shell that goes on the outside. Like if you were to look in here, it's super thin, but it's enough that it gives it that foundation and what we need to just start building it and continuing to sculpt on it once we get this down. Now I stopped yesterday on this at this point just because my hands were starting to cramp up and I was feeling like it was time to just be done for the day. Had I have continued on and just at least fill this out, we would just jump into the beak area. But for now, we're going to jam on this, get some magic sculpt slapped in here, add some texture to it. Then it'll be fun to start working on the beak. I think when we start getting the beak in, we'll really start seeing more of the personality, and especially once we start working on eyeballs. And with this, even though this is nice and hard, once I start putting this on, once we start working, spraying some water on it and blending it in, you won't be able to tell what's new and what's old except for the coloration at this point, where it may not be as dark, or it may still not be as shiny. But then once it's all dried up, you won't be able to tell the difference as to what was from yesterday, what was from today, what's from the next sculpting session, assuming that this does not get wrapped up in today. I'm going to go ahead and put some down here. they did. And there's still some on the side that I need to get to. Sometimes I gotta get around to every single angle. And I'll definitely need to come in on the back side and put some extra magic sculpt in there. Let's see, he can go up a little higher. I'm gonna lift him up a bit. That way I can see better, make sure I'm getting all these shiny bits down here. So hard. There's a sharp bit here that I want to figure out as well. There's some of the magic sculpt, it looks like it kind of fell down away from the aluminum foil as it was drying. So I'll need to go ahead and kind of jam that in there as well at some point. But for now, let's get all these little tinfoil holes. I see you up here. I see you right here. Right here, right here. Before long, we'll already be spraying it with water to smooth things down. Fill in some of those extra holes as well. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and build this cheek down a little bit more while I'm here, but do I want to put some filler in so I'm not just using a crazy amount of magic sculpt? Now, the aluminum foil is upstairs. I don't want to go grab that. So what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to get this drawing that I done to transfer another creature to the board the other day. I'm just going to get this paper, right? I'm going to look and see if that's going to be pretty close. I'm going to tear some of that off. Just throw that on the floor. No, I'll clean that up later, I think. Getting there. It's still a little too much. Sometimes you just got to use whatever you've got to fill things in and make things work. Okay, I think that's going to be what I need. Now let's see if I can get it to stay in place and do what I want it to do. Okay, Mr. Cheeky Cheek, you're going to stay. I promise you're going to stay. Let's see. So now I'm just going to take this piece of magic sculpt, make it a little flatter, a little wider. We're going to kind of use it almost like a Band-Aid to cover up what we've got going on up here. And we'll see if it'll stay. Hey, what did I just knock down? Oh, the rock. I knocked down the rock that I used for texturing. That's all right. I'll pick that up in a minute. If I can get this all to stay. Okay. You're going to do great. You're going to be amazing. And you're going to be the shape that I desire. And just like that, building out that cheek. It's definitely a little different than the other side, but that's okay. People, animals, all that stuff aren't perfectly symmetrical, but I wanted to have a little more symmetry to it. And once this dries and hardens up, nobody will ever know that there's just a crumpled ass piece of paper up in there. Gonna fill in this hole. Try and make sure I get all these bits and pieces covered up, and then I'll drop this down so we can see it a little bit better as we're smoothing it in and blending and making sure that that gets good coverage. And still some more. Now, will I remember all these places that I have some soft clay, soft magic sculpt? Probably not. I'm good at forgetting things. But that's okay. I'm going to put a little bit here, a little dab there. And I'm going to do a little on this side too, where I've got some holes where I'm seeing some aluminum foil sticking through. Then after that, we're going to spray this down. We're going to give it some texture. We're going to pick the rock up off the floor so I don't trip over it. I'll fill that stuff in later. Okay, here we go. It's time to give it a little squirty squirt where I think there's water or where there's soft magic sculpt. We'll smooth some things down. Yeah, I can feel it moving and pliable underneath my thumb. Just blending it in. Then we'll come back in with a rock in a few minutes and give it some of that texture that the rest of this beast has, just by mashing it down and pressing into the soft, pliable magic sculpt. Then once I'm happy with this, we'll move on to the beaky beak, because I think that's going to be fun. It's going to have different textures, different lines and stuff cut into it. I think I can ruin. We're going to do this part. We're going to mash it in with some rock, and then we will drop it down to do the upper part of the face where I added that cheek. The tastiest part of this beast. You want the magic sculpt to be nice and wet so it's not peeling away as you're pressing in with these texture patterns. And you can hear, as I'm pressing against the parts that are actually hard, that it's not doing a thing. Drop it down a little bit. Gonna spray it here where I put a little extra magic sculpt to blend into where the aluminum foil was showing through. Just gonna smooth that out, blend it in. Give it a little bit of texture love. Now we're going to do the same thing over here to this cheek that we added. And this, I'm doing a little less water than normal, only because it's just paper under there and it's still very pliable. I can feel it moving around, and it wasn't like a rigid surface of the paper. So just going to gently blend this one in. And then I'll try, when I do the rock on texture on top of it, not to go too hard. Self-saboteurs. And just gonna mash in with some of this. And then we have that cheeky cheek. All right, for now, let's move on to the beak itself. I want to start with the top of the beak because, I don't know, work your way down, I guess, something like that. So I'm going to drop it down just a little bit further, just so I can see it better, so I can get a top view a little bit. Okay, so I've got this magic sculpt, and I've kind of spread it out with my thumbs, trying to make it more flat. And I'm just going to kind of start to see what happens when I start to lay it down. And with this, I want this to definitely feel like it's a separate piece than the skin, like the weird rocky, lumpy texture. I'm going to want to try and make this smoother and more bony feeling. But I also want it to kind of come over the area as well. So and again, it's okay for me to just put this on in a quilt patchwork style for now, knowing I'm going to come back and clean it up. Oh yeah, that's going to end up being a good pointy bits. And, you know, I think it's time for tunage to change it up. Okay. There we go. I was listening to the Co-Defendants. Now switching it up. I did not have my dance music on this morning for my morning dance party since I went for a bike ride. I was listening to a punk mix on that. So now more. Okay, we're just gonna cover this whole upper beak. Then we're gonna smooth it out. We'll put some cool lines in. I think my legs are just beat from the bicycle ride. They do not want to feel the groove of the music, which that does not happen very often. And again, just putting this magic sculpt on in patches for now until we start forming it. Oh, and I'm gonna have to put some teethy teeth up under into the beak. A little bit here to fill in that hole. It won't be long before we have to mix up more magic sculpt already, but I think we're going to go in smaller batches as we move forward with this, because I think we'll start adding in some of the bits and baubles of random pieces collected to start making it a little more cyborgy after we get the beaks, the top and bottom beak done. So, and whatever you do when sculpting things like that, like this, I try not to stick strictly to the original drawing and let it be its own thing when it's in a three-dimensional form, because 3 dimensions and 2 dimensions are very different ways to tackle what you're seeing. And I want to allow this to turn into the form it's supposed to be when I'm doing the sculpting bits. Okay, I can feel that the aluminum foil is going up. I think under here, I think I may have done like a taped ridge before putting the aluminum foil on to kind of give it the upper palate of the beak. Can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure that's how I did it. And I know I want this, I'm going to want this to have a definitive ridge around the outside of the fleshy bit. So this definitely looks like a bone beak on top of it. Same thing on this side, of course. But soon it would be time to smooth it out and put some interesting lines and textures in, see how pointy this thing can get as we work it down with some water. Okay, up here under this palette. And a little more down along here. And before I start hosing this thing down with water and smoothing things out, I'll probably take a step back, take a look at it, assess the situation, assess the beastie beast. A little bit more here, just filling in some of these holes that I'm seeing where I'm seeing aluminum foil shining through that I know I want to get connected up. You won't believe in me, but fancy. Okay, take a step back for a sec. I've got a little bit of magic sculpt left in case we need it while we're doing this. Then I'll probably lift it up a bit. Okay, I'm going to do a little extra ridge along here just to make it a bit more pronounced from the skin bits that are back there. Knowing we're about to squirt this, I'm just going to take this, what's left of the magic sculpt that I've mixed up already, take it into a coil, and I'm going to follow the contours of the shape that I've already created. And then we'll blend it in, and it'll kind of almost give should give the beak almost more of a mask feel as it's more pronounced. So now we're going to spray it down. We're going to smooth it out and really start to bring this into being. Let's bring it up one notch. It's a little better for the viewpoint. Valentine's Day. And again, this is not totally symmetrical, and that's okay. But now I want to blend all this and make it smooth. And I love using my thumbs for this. You can use tools for this as well. But for me, this is part of the experience and really feeling like it's hand just physically handmade. Oh, I like the idea of giving it this ridge here as well, which means I'll have to do that over on this side too. That was not something in the drawing either. That's just something that as I'm sculpting, feeling it out and seeing what feels right. Smooth. Work these patches together. Need some more water. Squirty squirt, squirty squirt. Work this together here to give it a harder ridge in the front. And that'll also work up into this spiky spike. Or will it? Come on, work for me. You got this. Yeah, I like it having a little bit of a divot in it. It's gonna need some more. Oh, ripping that one up. I need some more water to keep it smooth. Gonna squirt it on this side and this side. There we go. Now I'm gonna have to bring it up underneath and smooth this out under here as well. I wish I would have made some teeth ahead of time that were like hard and rigid so I could just jam them up into the beak, because that gives like a natural like indentation that just feels really good when sculpting, and it allows you to add good creases and stuff. But I did not think that far ahead. Okay, so stepping to the side, looking at side profiles. Okay. Want to smooth this side down a little bit more. Just going to give it a squirty squirt. Now we're going to start adding some lines and creases into here, I think. Hello, Mr. Beak. I like you, upper beak. Yes. Nope. Needs a little bit of smoothing right here. Squirty squirt. Just going to blend that in a little bit. Okay. If I have a big eye over here, let's see. Oh no, there we go. If we have a big eye over here. Doot, doot, doot. I don't know, maybe. Yeah, I think that's okay. Something about this is now starting to feel like it's up too high here. Now that I'm looking at it and feeling it this way, I think it's definitely up too high. So I kind of want to, I'm going to cut this down a little bit. I'm just coming in with a kind of looks like a knife type tool, and I'm just going to scrape away at it. I'm going to pull what was here. And then we will come back in once this is hardened and dried, and we'll put some skin bits down back here. But as I had mentioned, a mask type thing, I think now it was starting to feel a little too mask-like and a little less beak-like. So I'm just coming in, cutting, just kind of like a butter knife or whatever, and going through, cutting through the line that I added there and just peeling it away. And that is A-okay. When it's soft and pliable like this, sometimes you have to make decisions on the fly. So I'm going to come back in with my fingers and just kind of smooth this edge a little bit. And now we'll start putting some of those details in that I wanted to do just a minute ago. With that, I'm going to come in just with like a little shovel-y looking thing, and I'm going to bring some lines like I bring into a lot of my sculptures. Bringing these lines in. We'll bring some in from down below as well. Blend some of those together. If you only knew. Gonna have to give it another spray to make it easier to pull the magic sculpt up. same. Oh no, I'm pulling away at the aluminum foil. We don't want to do that. We want to at least cover that foil up. So I'm going to put a little bit right here just to kind of blend that in real quick. All right, now I'll redo that. So easy to just fix little bits and pieces along the way as we need to. It's not a big deal. Just looking at what I did on the other side to try and do stuff that's similar, even if it's not exact or precise. And a little more over here. Maybe some right up in the tippy top, but I need to spray that with water. Squirty, squirt, squirty, squirt. Okay. All right, I think that's good for the upper beak. Lift that up a little bit. Maybe turn it to the side. So you can kind of see how this beak is coming in up here. I'm going to have to do some inner mouth area, lower beak. Going to have to put some teeth because there are supposed to be the teeth. So let's start doing some teeth and see what happens. And with this, I think I'm going to have to dig teeth holes, like puncture some holes, right? So I'm going to try the further away. And again, this would work a lot easier if I had hardened teeth all ready to go. But alas, that is not the case. So I'm just going to make a handful of teeth with what remains of the Magic Sculpt. Try and put these buggers in and see what happens. Make some cavities up in here. Jam that up into it. And I'm just pushing down with this tool to also work the Magic Sculpt in together to connect the two. And I'm going to do this on both sides. I'll probably just put a handful of teeth on each one, and then we'll start figuring out the lower jaw. Or I may go up and work inside for a little bit and take a break from this, realizing how tired the bicycle ride has gotten me. And how much more fun it is during the week when there's people jumping in on the stream and hanging out and chatting. Definitely adding the teeth certainly starts to give it a little more of a Skexy feel as well. Not that that is a bad thing in any way. I'm going to try and jam another tooth in between these two right here. See what happens. See if I can do it without effing it up too bad. All right, there we go. We now have 4 teeth on that side. 'Cause he's down with me. Okay, time to do the next 4. We're going to do them on the other side. Going to try and do a very similar thing. I'll start with the small one in the front, just like I did with that one, and hope it works out. That's right. But first, it's time for some water. Stay hydrated, folks. Okay, this one needs a much smaller indentation where this tooth is going to go, because it's an itty bitty baby one. Hello, little baby tooth. You're going to find a new home today. You're going to sink your teeth and you're going to sink into something, eat something delicious, perhaps my hand even. Wow, that is way further back than it should be. Hello, I'm going to extract you, tooth. Come on, taking you out of there. We're putting you up here. Depth perception. Not always the best. with me, along with sense of direction. Come on, tooth. Okay, you'll hang out there. That'll be fine. That's too big. We're going to put this one further back. Okay, so I'm jumping all over the place with this. That's okay. Sometimes you got to be flexible. But that tooth was way too big for up there. Da-da. Just going to put that in. Okay, time for some more teeth. And we're going to, this one should be a little bit smaller. Maybe the right size. Maybe a little too big. Who knows? Maybe his teeth are wonky. It doesn't really matter. Gonna push this up, do an indentation. Okay, it may be time to spray this again. We'll see. I've been hesitant about spraying this while I'm putting this in because I don't want it to get too slippery where the teeth don't want to go into the gums or into the beak or whatever you want to call this bit of the beastie. Okay, we're going to put one more tooth up in there and then going to figure out what's next on this creature. Okay. This is too big. This is certainly going to be far too big. Sorry. Okay, took a little bit of the magic sculpt off. I'm going to push in an indentation up into the soft, pliable beak palate. I'm going to jam this tooth up in there just for you. This week, coming up on Wednesday, in my town at Local Ties, we have Drink and Draw, which should be fun. Why am I getting an early voting thing for Georgia, but with a Maryland zip code? That's very strange. Anyway. So I was saying Drink and Draw this Wednesday at Local Ties for any locals that may be watching that want to come and make weird stuff. We'll be hanging out, making friends. I'm going to bring some of this magic sculpt in here to bring some of the fleshy bit in underneath before we start building out the lower jaw. Da-da. We'll blend it into the existing skin that's over here. I kind of want to put some stuff up inside the mouth, but I'm afraid now that I've got the teeth in there that I'm really going to get it all messed up and screw that up. So that one's going to have to wait for a little bit. But we should maybe work something in so that there's a tongue coming out of here that's not just purely magic sculpt that's going to be here. Think about that. I don't think I have any chopsticks down here. A lot of times I use that as a way to jam stuff in and give it something to hang on to. Spray it down a little bit. Blend that stuff together. Okay, I know I didn't listen to your message. There we go. Just giving it some of that rock texture that's around the rest of this beastie. Take a step back and think about what I've done. Okay, let's start building this out. We've only got a little bit of magic sculpt left. before I have to mix up more. So we're just going to lay this on, and just that'll just be that. That'll be fine, and then we'll mix up a little bit more. So just going to put that down right here. It's just as good a spot as anywhere else. Just let me live. Okay. Now it's time to make some more Magic Sculpt. I'm going to move these tools off of my buckets. I've got the black resin, the resin, and we've got the hardening agent. I'm going to try not to suck all this stuff in. I'm getting super low. I think we're going to have just enough to finish this creature out. We'll see. Guess I should order some more tonight. I'm going to mix up a little less this time, because we covered a bunch of area here and then up here, even though this is a bigger lower jaw. This is the size of this one right now. In all this stuff about me, just let me live. And then we'll get some of the hardening agent. Ugh. Hardener's a little bit bigger, but that's fine. We'll just get moving with it. Tell me why. Roll it into coils, blend the two together, make it one color, one blend. And I'm excited to start putting some hard geometric shapes into this thing, start giving it some of that that cyberpunky, cyborgy stuff. Thinking about different weird things, different odd shapes coming off of here. Always finding random weird pieces of junk and trash to go in and actually build out that kit bashing type feel. Golly, he's big. Yep, we'll get this lower jaw done. Maybe start gluing or adding some little pieces. What do you look like? That's wonky. It's Frankenstein-y type bits. Oh, shoot. Okay, well I think that's going to stay. We'll leave that there. I think we'll add one to the other side too. That was a weird accident. I forgot that I'd started sculpting on there. Forgot that was still soft and pliable. But let's push you in a little bit harder. Make sure that you're, yeah. And that was some like weird like candy ice cream cone type thing. Hopefully paint will stick to that okay when I spray paint it, like to prime it. And things will stick on it because, you know, that's pretty flimsy material. If not, it'll get some battle damage, as things often do in the verse. That's quickly going to add some weird aspects to it. That'll be fun. Then I think I want to end up doing some like neck ridges and things like that once I've got some more Magic Sculpt to throw down in there, depending on how things go with doing the beak. And I think I'll want to do this. I wonder, I've got a few of these. How many of those do I have? Just two. If I had four, I'd do another one on the other. Do two like that. So I like that. Do I not have more? No. See this? I think this may be too big. Yeah, it's too big. Unless we did 2 on that side of the smaller ones, 1 bigger one on the other side. Thinking. Okay, let's go ahead and jam this in while it's still soft and see. Oh, no, it's not soft there. Never mind. But do I want it anyway? I kind of do. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of this Magic Sculpt. Going to look and see where it is. Going to put a little ring around here and allow it to jam into it. We're just going to kind of go along the ridge here. And see what happens when we do this. And then I'll have to blend this in a little bit more. Maybe put a little more filler. All killer, no filler. And then we'll start to blend this in a little bit in just a second. That's okay. Here we go. Spray this down so it can blend into it. Make it feel a little more natural. Natural, yes. I'm going to do the same thing. Going to add a little around this edge. After I do this, no, you do it. You feel like you're getting a little loose there. We may have to wait on that one till that hardens up. Come back in and do a little extra reinforcement around here. But I do like that on there. I think that something about that I'm digging. Okay, now let's flatten out some of this Magic Sculpt. Let's put it onto this lower jaw and get this lower jaw beak going. Okay, again, just going to do some patchwork for now. Then we'll come back in and clean it up and make it awesome. And just gonna keep putting this patchwork all the way around on this chin. No doubt. Just gonna mash that up into there. Hopefully it'll stay in place how I'd originally sculpted the beak out of the cardboard. Got to get these little holes that I'm missing. Again, just going to keep covering this lower beak up till it's completely covered. Enjoy the process as it happens. So now that I'm seeing it, it's like the top and bottom jar are like just slightly tweaked. Carl's, oh. Make that go into the negative space inside the beak. There's a little bit in there that needs to be covered up. Almost done covering up the tinfoil in the bottom beak. Oopsies. Then we'll spray some water on it, blend it all together, put some texture and details into it. I don't think we'll see if I have enough Magic Sculpt still mixed to throw some teeth into it. The teeth may have to come later, but if that happens, what I'll do is I will put divots in. I'll like knock little notches into the beak so there's places for the teeth to go. Okay, time to spray this thing and smooth it all out. Smooth the patchwork. Get both sides so I can work both sides at the same time. Try and give it a little more symmetry. If I move my thumbs at the same time. Different Magic Sculpt amounts there and here. That's okay. Let's bring it up. Let's get inside the mouth. Smooth that down. Bring it up for the bottom beak. I'm going to want to try and get this into a nice pointy ridge as well, but I need more water there. Both sides with the waters. There we go. The water definitely makes it a lot easier to smooth things down. Maybe even bring this into a slightly pointier ridge. All right. I feel like that's starting to come together. Yeah. I want to do a little more underneath. Then I may consult the illustration at some point to see if I want to come back in and add any bits and pieces to it. I mean, I feel like this was bigger. Like there's way more flesh here versus the bone of the beak than in the original drawing, which that's fine. You know, things change. Got to adapt to where the clay wants to go. But up, hands in the air. Make that a little pointier, a little more vulture-y. Gonna spray this down left and right sides. Gonna put some lines in here. Come on, baby. Where are you? Here you are, my friend. Okay, we're just gonna take this tool now that it's wet. Just gonna take some good grooves in here, some good lines, big ones, deep ones, so they stand out. Some smaller ones up here, some notches. Perhaps there's some battle damage, perhaps some cracks with age. Need some water on this side too. Da, 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 da. I for sure need to clean up this workspace down here. It is a wreck from doing some sculpting down here. I think I need to do print some things out for my Vast Grimm game that I'm running tomorrow. So I need to try and make this space a little more manageable. It is a wreck, but I tend to live in chaos when I make stuff. Da, 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 da. A couple little more lines. All right, I said I was going to do some divots into the lower area for teeth. I need to do that. Make some big ones. So there's some spots for some teeth to go into. I do have a little bit of magic sculpt left, so perhaps I need to put a little something in here for now. Before we do any of that, let's let that stuff dry up. We'll drop you down. We're gonna put some additional bits here. Like there's flesh coming up over this ridge line. This was something I wanted to do once this dried up. Once this dried, and that has happened, so now we can do that. Basically just doing some chunks here. That's going to be some skin bits. You can put some texture and details into this, and it'll give it more depth between here and this jumping up out of it. And that's all the magic sculpt I had mixed up, so we'll do this. We'll see how it looks, and then we will save the other side and the remainder back there for another day. Just blending this in with my finger, some water. Then I'm going to put some grooves into it, and then I'm going to smash it down with the rock to give it the texture that I want. So I'm going to just come in here and do some grooves here, a couple lines. And this is just getting some grooves in here so that when I go to paint, it'll have some extra areas for shadows to go into. And then I'm just smashing it a little bit with the rock to give it some of the texture and have it also blend in with what's already here. All right, I think that's all I'm going to do for today. I think I need to do some other things today instead of just focusing on this guy. There's still ways to go on this. Still have to finish up the inside of the mouth, give more form to it, finish the ridge line around here, some skin up here, start putting eyes and biomechanics and things like that into it. So this is still probably going to be another 2 or 3 session sculpt, I believe. But for now, I'm going to clean up my mess, call it a day with this, and think about some other things that I'm going to do with the rest of my afternoon and the creative stuff I would like to accomplish. So I hope if you tuned in, thanks so much for coming to see me, and I hope to see you again making the weird stuff. Good day.